It's a pleasant good morning to a fresh edition of the program, the Good Morning Show here on Star Television, broadcasting live from our Media One Center, 3 Mama Street, Brookfields in Freetown. Today being Monday the 15th of July 2019. My guest in the studio is the CEO and founder of the Legal Link, Lawyer Rashid Doumbouya. He is here to talk to me on a program, open education program, Law for Non-Lawyers. The program is run by Legal Link, aimed at helping human rights activists, journalists, accountants, legal researchers, students to have access to law, notes, article, cases law, and judicial precedent. He's here to talk to me on how he intends to move along with it. Rashid, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Star TV. Thanks for having me.
Before that, let's look at what entails top stories in the program. The Ministry of Higher and Tertiary Education, together with the Ministry of Finance, has on Friday, 12 July 2019, signed a Memorandum of Understanding for the payment of salaries of university lecturers. The MOU was signed at the conference room in the Ministry of Finance. And the management of Rokel Commercial Bank on Friday, July 12, 2019, officially handed over a newly built mini amphitheater for students of the Milton Magai College of Education, Congo Cross Campus. The gesture, according to Managing Director of Rokel Commercial Bank, Dr. Ekundayo Walton Gilpin, is to complement government effort in building the human capital that will help students to generate their constructive ideas for growth and development for nation building. All this, including sport, will be part of the program. Remember, the Star Good Morning Show is proudly sponsored by Rokel Commercial Bank.
SimCorp allow old and young to make deposit and withdraw cash from their account at any time and anywhere. With Rokel Commercial Bank SimCorp, you can send and receive money at any place and any time. Rokel Commercial Bank don't make life better for we all.
Welcome back from that commercial break. We move along with the program. The Ministry of Higher and Tertiary Education, together with the Ministry of Finance, has on Friday, 12 July 2019, signed a Memorandum of Understanding for the payment of salaries of university lecturers. The MOU was signed at the conference room in the Ministry of Finance. George Elliott Sam has details of this report.
The Minister of Finance, Jacob Joseph Safa, said the tireless effort of the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education officials in making this intervention a reality justify the decisions of the President to separate the Education Ministry. Integrating the university payroll into the national payroll is part of the government public expenditure review, which includes payroll audit. He announced the new agreement, he said, will ensure prompt monthly payment to university staffs. The Memorandum of Understanding dictates that the government undertake payment of salaries and allowance, including rent, medical, annual leaves, and 10% NACIT contribution of CAS staff. The minister noted that salary payment to associate with lecturers and other allowance, including ex-graduate payment to contract staff, will be undertaken by the institution using government subvention and internally generated fund. He called on the tertiary education institution to ensure prompt reporting of staff termination, replacement, recruitment, and all relevant information.
This is part of the public expenditure review. We are constantly looking at the payroll, we are constantly looking at the public expenditure generally, to come what different reforms. Whilst we try to integrate the payroll of the university into the central payroll system, we are also doing audits of the entire payroll in government. We discover anomalies within the Ministry of Finance of tampering, anomalies related to tampering of the payroll system inside.
The Minister of Technical and Higher Education, Professor Yapakima, said the days of strike actions by lecturers are over, noting that the new direction government prioritizes lecturers' welfare. He called on the universities, colleges to ensure timely submission of relevant information to the Ministry of Finance and Higher Education. We expect high level of efficiency from the lecturers with this new agreement, he expressed.
When you read it, there are certain clauses that you should note of. And let me mention one, that your associate lecturers are now going to be paid by you from the subvention you get and from the resources
I appreciate that the government at that time was not giving subvention, was not good enough, so they had to pay the salaries. Now, the salaries will be paid by the government. If you are replacing, we make sure that we know, we make sure that we reform finance and we reform the registration issues so that we can take one name and put another one there. Somebody dies, they resign. We need to know that, don't give it for 2 months, because that will affect you. If you are going to employ, remember there is a freeze of employment. But if you have a serious case, let us know, and we shall come down to this building and talk to our colleagues and see what will come out of that. Only if you make a case to us. So don't sit down and assume that it's going to happen by magic.
The Deputy Minister of Technical and Higher Education, Dr. Turat Sedesi, described the event as a milestone that will support quality education. This move marks the end of an era where lecturers go for months without salaries, he noted, while highlighting the challenges being faced by university staff over the years. According to him, we have witnessed situations of staff allowance being accumulated over a period of 1 year with no assurance of bulk payment. Lecturers, he said, have been struggling to maintain their respect and dignity in various communities as their kids were being asked out of schools for failure to timely pay tuition fees. He, however, noted that the latest laudable intervention by the government will require commitment from the lecturers to improve on the standard of education in the country through better service delivery.
That at the end of every month, they will get alerts on their phones, notifying them that salaries have been paid. And we know the happiness, the smile that we are going to see on the faces of our lecturers. As a government, our resolve is to inject new models into the academic activities of our society to enhance better quality service delivery. We believe with the timely payment of salaries, our lecturers can once again learn their families well, have time to update their lecture notes, conduct assessment, and above all, research.
The principal of the Milton Magai College of Education and Technology, Dr. Philip John Kanu, said the Memorandum of Understanding, which has been signed between and among Ministry of Technical and Higher Education, the Ministry of Finance, and various statutory institutions, universities, and college, is a good move that will see the start of payment of salaries and other allowances of academic and administrative staff of tertiary education institutions. He further that with the new agreement, the government will ensure timely payment of salaries on a monthly basis. The new direction government places premium on welfare of lecturers. He reiterated, adding that the government is determined to minimize poverty and support savings.
It's actually a very important ceremony for us as heads of institutions because it's going to take the burden of salaries from our necks. But that has been a very serious issue that actually affects most of the time when you go to the office, you look at your staff, you know that you've not yet paid them, and it's over a month or two, you will not be able to really push them for them to do what they're supposed to do.
For Star News in Freetown, George Elliott Sam reported.
Thanks to my colleague George Elliott Sam for putting that report together. Law for Non-Lawyers is an open education program run by Legal Link to help human rights activists, journalists, accountants, legal researchers, students offering law-related courses and interested citizens gain understanding of and have access to law notes, articles, case law, and journals, including judicial precedent. My guest in the studio is Lara Shidubuya, CEO and founder of the Legal Link. Lara Shid, good morning, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me once again, Adugaman.
What really comes to mind to have an inception of such an idea to promote open education program?
Yes, so it all started when we realized that there are many people who may want to read law or become lawyers, but perhaps one way or the other they can't because perhaps of resources or the fact that they are challenged by other means. And we believed also law has a lot of bearing in terms of human rights, in terms of creating a society that can effectively claim their rights. And somebody has rightly said, if you don't know your rights, you cannot claim them. So we realize that the bigger and majority population out there, may not necessarily be lawyers. So what we have decided as an organization that seeks and promote the welfare and of course the rights of vulnerable groups is to have this program called the Open Education Program, and under which we are targeting non-lawyers, journalists, accountants, legal researchers, people whose profession has some bearing with law, to help them access law notes and commentaries, articles, journals, case laws, and we simplify it for them so that even when they are not in the profession, they are still adequately informed and knowledgeable about legal issues. And also we have even extended to citizens who are also interested to know about law, about human rights, about the Constitution, about their duties as citizens, and also about their rights under the Constitution. So it's an educative program which is free, of course, because we'll be sending these things out, and then all of a sudden our ultimate goal is to empower our nation. I'm sure when we have an empowered nation, we'll have a nation that can claim their rights when they are under threat, or when they are being abused or violated. And that kind of nation will definitely push a country towards development and social cohesion. So that's the ultimate. We want to empower our country, we want to empower our nation in ways that will help her to actualize her goal in terms of development. And we are doing this free. So the Law for Non-Lawyers program is an open education program where you access law materials, you access law articles, law notes, commentaries, free of charge. So if you don't have money out there, you can still have understanding about law and learn a lot, without a cent coming from your pocket. That's our gift to our nation.
Now, Rashid, this perhaps could be an initiative funded by the law department of Fowey College, saying that what you're doing in parallel perhaps may seem to undermine their effort there, teaching law at Fowey College, and also you are out there trying to create an initiative that will inform the wider understanding of the lay public on specific rights and responsibilities. Otherwise, myself will just go to the Sierra Leone Legal Information Institute. I'll go to the South African Legal Information Institute, Google all of these things and say, do I need a tutor to actually inform me what to do in all of these?
Yeah, so I would argue that, on the contrary, it is even complementing continuing education, because that's the goal of the university. We just don't want to exist for our population. We want to also impact those who are not even coming into our institutions, and by so doing, we advertise, all right, the institution, and make things known that indeed we exist to help our institution and to make sure our institution gets the requisites professional standards required to meet international global settings. So we will be complementing the university
while complementing the University of Sierra Leone. I see it from a very challenging perspective. That it requires some amount of resources to undertake such a key initiative.
Yes, I agree. But
do you intend to partner with any institution that will lend support to this initiative?
Yes. So what we have decided, if we have funding, fine, we will be happy, all right. But we don't need to wait for funding to do this, all right. These are legal, people who have committed themselves to helping others out there. So we will start, and we look forward to humanitarian groups, philanthropists out there who believe in our vision to come on board and partner with us. But till we get to that bridge, we will still do our own little bit. We believe God has helped us to be lawyers, and so we want to give back to our nation.
Was any research conducted that you intend to replicate this exercise in country, like in other countries?
Yes. So we learned about this initiative also. There's one in South Africa, there's one also in Kenya. So you see, progressive nations have this, kind of programs called open education program. It's all about trying to excite people out there, educate them. Those who are less privileged, who cannot afford the means to come to university, can still understand some basic things and be empowered and be able to claim their rights when they are under threat. That's the uniqueness about open education programs. You don't need to come to the university per se, all right, to have this knowledge. And the university is small. How many of us are up there? We're not even up to 10,000, and we're talking about almost 8 million population. So you see, we have to strategize ways to how to help others who cannot necessarily come to the university at the material time. How we'll keep them, in tune, excited. So eventually, when they get to know these things, they are motivated, and by the time you know it, you see them undertaking courses, going to take their exams, and ultimately come to the university. So in a way, it's also provoking them that, see what you are missing. There's so much you can get more. All right, but in the interim, whilst you are preparing, whilst you are finding resources, get some free knowledge that you will now.
It's like a kind of orientation platform.
Yes. So we are using our WhatsApp platform. We have a whole Legal Link WhatsApp forum, and of course we have the Facebook page, and of course we have other sites that we are sending these materials to, and of course you can have hard copies as well if you come to our office.
Rashid, in your view, what constitutes a chunk of challenge when it comes to understanding the principles of law bothering around the human existence? I have an idea, if you could allow me to tell you.
Yes, go ahead.
I see the chunk of it coming from the aspect of knowing the land rights.
Yes.
In terms of acquisition,
Mm-hmm.
what it takes as a citizen for you to know whether the government has the right to repossess land, compulsory acquisition.
Mm-hmm.
I also look at the aspect of where perhaps one could say the right to bail in court, because that seems to be pretty much contentious. Are all those elements going to be factored in for
Yes.
a general understanding?
Exactly. So we are targeting all these little things, well, in quotes, that are of immense significance to the entire human existence. So imagine if you come to the court and you don't understand the issue of bail. You may be fooled by somebody out there, and then you think it's something that I should spend millions of money for. No. So in the Constitution, we will tell you what rights accord you such under the Constitution. We will tell you about the issue of right to property under the Constitution. So we are educating you to be empowered. And because if you don't know your rights, you cannot claim them. That is the danger about many people who don't know their rights. So they will always succumb, all right, to simple things that they should have stood up for and say, no, it is my right under the Constitution. I should not go through this. So this is a platform where many people will be empowered. Education is key. In fact, somebody defined education as an empowerment right. If you want to deprive people and make them less empowered, deny them education. So what we are trying to do is to make sure we build and consolidate our nation, empower it in a way that it could easily traject into transformational society. And then ultimately what happens, you will see progress. You will see a society that will be very strong in terms of holding its leaders to account.
Are you alone in this initiative?
Oh no, we have so many lawyers who are with me in this. And then we have law students, and then we have human rights activists. It's a group, it's a legal advocacy group actually. With the people who are committed to just helping others. Alright. So it's like we've come to reading law, and we are now lawyers, but we don't want to just stop at ourselves. We want to give back. And that is the beauty about us. We're not doing this for money. We are doing it because we love our humanity, and we want to help humanity grow. We're not selfish, because honestly, we all sat down and said, okay, you know what? No, we are now lawyers. What is the heck about this? But we are saying, no, how can we use our profession to be a blessing out there? That's the beauty about Legal Link.
I'm equally looking at the point where perhaps if we want to partner with the College of Heimat, we are to undertaking a similar exercise, tag as street law.
Street law, yes.
Go out to the streets, try to educate the lay public on the fundamentals of law.
And that's the way to go. That's what Western democracies, that's what even progressive African nations are doing. It's like law is so interconnected to the human life, because it's about letting a person understand the do's and don'ts. The Constitution is legal, And if you make people understand their rights under the Constitution, then you are teaching them law. So that is how we should see it. We should see law as a social science, as a progressive tool that will empower our nation. The rights under the Constitution are all legal.
Do I see my program familiarized with
Oh,
as
awesome.
one of the platforms?
Yes, of course, definitely. And you will be one of our agents, of course, that will also champion this. Because at the moment, let's face it, journalists, lawyers, accountants, human rights activists, they are all sharing one platform. And they must understand the legal implication that surrounds their profession. And when we all join forces together with an empowered mind on the law, trust me, our society will progress.
Okay, he's Rashid Doumbouya, the CEO and founder for the Legal Link. Let me welcome another studio guest here, is Minkailu Kuruma, a member of the NRM, the National Reformation Movement. He will be telling me more on the outcome of the process where the Empanel Committee to review the All People's Congress Party Constitution has concluded with a draft submitted to the National Advisory Council. But what the members of the NRM feels about the entire process? Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Abraman. Thanks for welcoming me.
Are you aware that the public impression about members of the NRM that you guys are the devils in the entire formula?
Yeah, well,
towards the growth and development of the APC party?
I understand the fact that there is a crusade going on now, which is intended to blackmail, members of the NRM, especially its executive. But however, we are of the firmest of conviction that the majority of the membership of the party do resonate with what we are pushing, and those that are patriotic Sierra Leoneans also do appreciate us. We are not throwing spanners into the work of the executive of the party nor the CRC, but rather we are just speaking the wishes and aspirations of the majority of the people who are considered to be voiceless, who cannot confront the leadership to tell them what they want to see. We are just that pressure group within the APC that seeks for equal rights. We are that group that thinks for APC to progress, there needs to be a level playing field in which everybody will have the opportunity to compete for whatever position he or she intends to compete for.
Minkailu,
that is what we are pushing.
What as a movement do you guys intend to actually see to reform within the party?
When we started this movement, we developed a document known as the Principles and Fundamentals for the existence of the National Reformation Movement. We asked that following the unfolding circumstances of the 2018 multi-tier elections, a lot needs to be addressed so that APC can be formidable to present an opposition that will be challenging the incumbent and that will have the capacity to win in the 2023 elections. One of which was we suggested to the executive of the party that there needs to be a total overhauling of the party, and then reviewing the constitution could be paramount. We suggested a lot of things to be reviewed in the constitution. We asked that the selection clause be expunged. We asked that term limits, be addressed in the constitution. It was not properly addressed. We also asked that the anti-party clause be clearly defined so that everybody will know that these are my limitations. I should not do this. I will go against the ideals of the party. We ask that an independent complaints body be set up so that NAC cannot be the referee and the player at the same time. These are some of the reforms we are seeking, and we are going to continue to seek until we ensure.
Before I come to ask you whether you've taken you've taken a look at the draft that has been submitted to the National Advisory Council. The desperate minds, I must say, within the party is considering the singular action of your movement to be a deterrent to the growth trajectory of the party. Otherwise, you guys are seen as a lone fighter and you are driven by what many could refer to as a survival instinct.
On the contrary, Abdurrahman, like I stated earlier, we are being appreciated by the majority of the people. And in fact,
but public opinion seems to be swaying away.
That is not the case. That is what the blackmailers may want you to think.
So that estimation is wrong.
It is very wrong. Now, you see, just recently, we saw an audio making the rounds wherein members of NRM we are actually, addressed in such a manner that could be addressed as improper. We did not respond to that audio because of the fact that we respect the leadership of the party. We are aware that these people have also worked relentlessly, for the progress of the party, and so we are in no way trying to pull them down, and so we did not react to the audio. But you also saw a lot of outstanding individuals within the party, some of whom, in fact, in the last election did vie for the standard bearer of the party, reacted very seriously to that audio, including lawyer Abubakar Kaloko, Paul Kamara, to name but a few. They reacted to that audio. NRM did not say anything. That tells you they are also in line with the views we are promoting, and the majority of the people do resonate with us. We are not asking for much. NRM is not saying come and impose Minkailu Kuruma in any position. We are not saying Sheridan wants to become the chairman and leader of the party. That is not what we are asking for. We are just saying expunge the selection clause, forget about consultation, because the end product of consultation is selection. Well, consultation and selection are two convenient bedfellows.
The draft presented to the NAC, the National Advisory Council, presupposes that it is a kind of insightful and very much good document that all of those hurdles has been jumped over, aren't you?
No. The constitution, the draft constitution presented by the CRC, in the first place, let me commend members of the CRC, irrespective of the fact that they were supposed to have concluded this work in January 2019.
Especially the chairman, Ibrahim Sori.
Yeah, everybody in the CRC. Most of them, I have great respect for them. And I do believe that they will have to go back to the drawing board as advised by the National Advisory Committee to look into most of the concerns of the membership. We do not want to throw spanners into the work of the CRC. They were to have concluded in January 2019, but it lasted for almost, this is July now, it lasted for almost about 9 months. Yeah, but that notwithstanding, I had refused to comment on the document because it was not in the public domain.
It is.
No, it was not in the public domain before this time. That is what I am saying. That is why the last time when I was hosted here, I only did talk on the letter, the press release issued by Sheridan, because he was our representative at the CRC and he decided to resign, at the time they were concluding their work. So when I came here, I only talked upon that particular point. I did not say anything that has got to do with the draft itself. It was not a public document. But now I read the press release in which the Secretary General indicated that NAC and the Secretariat have received the document. Mm-hmm. And now they have decided to give this document to organs of the party, mm-hmm, so that they can also look into the document, make their inputs and make recommendations to NAC and the CRC. They can again form another body that will actually produce a final draft, mm-hmm, out of this that have been produced. But there is also a challenge here. I commend them for that laudable venture, for them to think that people have also got a say when it comes to the running of the party. However, now the challenge is the organs of the party are members, most of whom were selected in the first place. When we say the organs of the party, we are talking about the National Executive Council, NAC, we are talking about the Women's Congress, we are talking about the National Youth League. Yeah, the National Union of AP Students and the Veterans are yet to become an organ as established by law because they are not in the current constitution, but they are being co-opted in most of the dealings of the party. And so if these are organs of the party, they are also expected to have their membership. The veterans, for example, have got a very large membership, yeah? The Youth League have also got a very large membership. So our expectation is that those people should not only sit as an executive and make a decision to produce recommendations that may not reflect the wishes and aspirations of the majority of the people. So our expectation is we expect all of these organs to now call their general membership into a meeting. No one is a reservoir of knowledge.
On the allegations that you guys seem to be frolicking on the basis of inconsistency, you started off with the executive not having the ultimate mandate to run the party affairs. Now it's about the constitution, consultation, no consultation, whichever way you look at it. What do you guys wish to actually see that will halt or put a stop to all of these callings?
Yeah, well, I did not remember a circumstance in which NRM did say the party do not have the mandate or perhaps the legality to run the party's affairs.
Maybe it's not you. Others are saying they outlive their...
Yeah, but well, as spokesperson of NRM, I will state categorically clear, Even if that is the case, we are yet to make that public, we are yet to make that pronouncement. We just believe that the APC is a family, and that most of the things must be, swept under the carpet, so just that we can address our house and see how we can have a formidable force. I don't want to go into how this executive was elected. I don't want to go into whether it was a roll call, whether they were not even constitutionally elected or selected. I don't want to go into that. We have managed the situation from our last National Delegate Conference in McKinney. So as NIM as a movement have decided not to actually take some other things that will continue to widen the division within the party. We have decided to just ignore them. That is why we call for a total overhauling of the party, reviewing the constitution as being very paramount. And this is what we are continuing to push. We do not want to see a situation where NRM may opt to go for other options. We still consider the APC to be a family. We do not want a third party to intervene and start mediating between members of the APC or amongst members of the APC.
I'm keen to know whether
we just want to address our issues
I'm keen to know
ourselves.
whether there was or there is an official acknowledgement of NRM to be given a draft copy of the revised constitution.
The document is a public document, and our NRM will convey a meeting, maybe out of Freetown, in which we have not critiqued the document yet. I am stating this again. I said the other time we supported Sheridan because what he was representing was not met. The wishes and aspirations of the people. I have had the opportunity to glance through the document, I must say. And having glanced through the document, aside the consultation clause, there are many other challenges. There is a whole section talking about interpretation. Most of the clauses in the draft constitutions were not interpreted. I can certainly tell you they interpreted what consultation is.
So in the views of the movement, there are other elements within.
There are many elements within the constitution, the draft constitution, yes, which if not addressed will be very dangerous, perhaps more than the old constitution. In fact, we are talking about a constitution where even the criteria for one to contest for a certain position are not there, but rather there is a proposition for there to be an electoral management committee that will sit with NAC and draft what would be the rules of engagement or the criteria for one to contest, which means you can be changing the rules every time and moment the circumstance arise in the middle of the game, which is bad. Now, there is a national constitution. We are saying all political parties' constitution, their operation should be, in line with the national constitution. The national constitution will not, let's say, state criteria that qualifies Abdurrahman to be president of Sierra Leone, and any other political party constitution militates against Abdurrahman. That is not good. We are saying the criteria for one to become president or flag bearer should be clearly stated in the new constitution. Even the area of the electoral management bodies, drawing up laws towards, a convention together with NAC. That is also something that will be very challenging. This is what I have heard, and this is what I am
The elders within the party are considering your stance to be pretty much stubborn.
Well,
when I look at the crop of lawyers that are put together to ensure that are empaneled to review the entire process, led by no less a person, Ibrahim Sori, one of the finest, Wara, Seri Kamal, and others. In your view, do you think they do not fairly represent the views of the collective majority?
I don't want to discredit anybody. When I started, I said...
But by logical extension, the things you pointed out presupposes that they failed to do a good job.
Like I don't want to discredit anybody, but the fact of the matter
was their job impressive?
Yeah, well, by my estimation, it is also very challenging. There are many other things to be addressed.
So the threshold was not met?
By my estimation, no.
Okay.
The wishes and aspirations of the majority of the APC supporters did not reflect that draft constitution.
Okay.
Aside the consultation clause, there are many other areas which needs to be addressed. For example, that draft constitution will tell you even if there is going to be elections of people vying for symbols at constituency level, ward, or those wanting to become mayor and chairpersons, their constituents will only account for 40% of that result.
Okay.
They did not say anything about the 60%. Who determines that 60%?
Okay.
It's another question.
Now the question is, all other things remain equal, that nothing changes. and there's going to be a collective nod on this revised constitution, do I see you taking this matter to court to have a fine day?
Yeah, well, I don't think I can make that particular pronouncement at this stage. What I am making clear to the general membership of the APC, we have many options on the table. I don't just want to let the cat out of the bag, at least at this stage.
Okay.
But what I want to make clear is this. NRM, we do not need to be recognized as an organ of the party before making our inputs. But we are aware that the party leadership, especially the chairman and leader, do appreciate the work of NRM.
Okay.
This is more so the reason why we were asked to give members to represent us in the CRC.
Okay.
Because they are aware that we are pushing the views and aspirations of the people. Thank you very much, Abdurrahman.
Before I take another aspect on the management of Ukel Commercial Bank, quickly, Rashid Obuya, aside from the tiny thoughts bordering on the activities of political parties, the nation's constitution, the 1991 constitution, in most cases, had led to many controversies. I recall a situation we are here where Kaloko and Barry Adrian Fisher discussing in furtherance the issues that further led to a constitution being pretty much absorbed. Yet still, the looming confusion is there. The knowledge about interpreting the constitution is pretty much thin. Are all those factors going to be taken into consideration in your
yes ultimately
education program?
Ultimately, and our goal ultimately also is to push for legal policy reforms and even institutional reforms. I'll argue that we need another constitution. That is the truth. The effort has been made to have a revised constitution. I hope this government will take it further, so that do you
buy the view of your colleague who described the 1991 constitution, Solkita Conte, as a very fine document, that it ought to be better?
Yes, I agree. It's a starter, but we can be progressive, because time is really not in our favor. And let's get to that place where we can now be boastful of a progressive constitution, and we will also be pushing for. Look, we need a constitutional court. A separate court that will just be there. Yes, will just be there to interpret the constitution and make sure it enforces the rights under the constitution. I have argued that as Supreme Court, we have to reform it, because as it stands, they have the jurisdiction to interpret the constitution, but aside that, they also have other jurisdictional functions
on a curious note, Rashid, you are one of the finest young common lawyers. Is it deliberate for the framers of party constitution to stray off from the national goals set by the national constitution?
And I think
could this be a deliberate attempt?
Well, it's
to suit their convenience.
It might, or on the other hand, it might not, because again, let's don't forget that when we don't have that awareness that when we do policies, we do our national, local, frameworks, and we don't have that courage to have them in line with not only national laws but regional and international laws. Because that is the vogue. There is an international setting, there is the regional setting, there is the sub-regional setting, and then there is the national setting. So if I was to argue, all our institutions should frame out laws and make them in tandem with these 4 tiers. That's when I will say our laws are compliant. But when we do things that do not reflect not only the national laws, but also sub-regional, regional, and international laws, then we are not in compliance, and we are in violation of not only international law, but regional and sub-regional laws.
So come to the point of political parties constitutional.
Yes, well, I am not about politics. I think I want to evade that discussion. But what I'm going to say as a human rights person and a human rights lawyer is we must have the courage to look at our frameworks, revise them in ways that will meet not only national laws, but sub-regional, regional, and international law. That's when I will say we have gotten it right.
Do you see me help in this discussion in the studio?
I want to avoid all of what you want to carry me into. I'm here for my open election program.
Yeah, let's move along with the program. The managing director of Okel Commercial Bank, Dr. Ekunda Walton Gilpin, has described the gesture in the handing over of the newly built mini amphitheater for students at the Milton Magai College of Education as complementing government efforts to building the human capital that will help students to generate their constructive ideas for the growth and development of students. Here is the report.
We're going to call some time back to be able to help out with what we're seeing right here. We had a quick think about it, and we thought, okay, look, there are things we need to do in this economy, there are things we need to do in the country. But we're not comfortable in sitting down in a corner and looking at the air conditioner, looking at the nice walls in our building. We thought we have the generation to help. And the generation of students are the ones who are going to lead tomorrow. And we believe that if you have a structure that is convenient enough for you to sit down and think, for you to sit down and put your ideas together, for you to sit down and begin to design policies for Sierra Leone that will help you on this campus to grow. We met with the dean, we had a conversation also with the executive, Mr. Principal, thank you very much. And also we believe that the story coming from Milton Magai is a positive story. It is sufficient for you as students to come by there, think together, and put together policies and strategies that help shape tomorrow for Sierra Leone, help shape tomorrow for the next generation, help shape tomorrow for yourselves, help shape tomorrow for the children of tomorrow. And that's what you do in that room. Think positively, construct your ideas, make sure you grow in your intellect, and you make sure intellectual decay does not occur. Because in that room are going to be policymakers, in that room are going to be future leaders, in that room may be the next president of the Republic of Sierra Leone. Because why? You're going to give your punch to the air and say, yes, we can do it.
I want to thank you on behalf of the College Council for the support that you provided to my students and to me. The structure that you've supported the construction is going to show the seriousness of the administration. So I am happy. And I want to take this opportunity on behalf of College Council and the entire administration to say thank you. Thank you. And thank you. Please convey our appreciation to the Board of Trustees and management of Okel Commercial Bank. These are gifts that some of us will not take lightly. For somebody today, with all the difficulties, to spare that huge amount of money to support your institution, I don't take that lightly. I want to thank you because you are bringing a place for my students to have recreation.
And I want to say that since my ministry is the ministry that is supervising Milton Magai College, we're here to give you the support. And I am deeply gratified for what I saw out there. And hopefully, we hope and pray that you will utilize the facilities for the intended purpose. But and I want to say that since my ministry is the ministry that is supervising Milton Magai College, we're here to give you the support. And I am deeply gratified for what I saw out there. And hopefully, we hope and pray that you will utilize the facilities for the intended purpose. But as a lecturer, I like to give advice. And so, because there are two things that we're going to do out there. We're going to cut the tape on the hall out there and also the mini amphitheater. But I want to ask you a simple question. What is it that you are going to use those facilities for? Now here is a suggestion to you. It's a rhetorical question. All right, so the suggestion is that the very first thing is that, please, I want to ask you to use that place for a place of reflection. You want to go there and reflect. One of the biggest problems we have in Africa, particularly here in Sierra Leone, those of us who have been blessed to go overseas and study there and came back, is that they have specific areas where you can go, beyond the library, where you can go and reflect. And the second thing is that they have a place where you can go and cool off when you are aggravated by maybe academic work. You could go and cool off. And then the third reason why you have to use the place is the place will also serve as a rendezvous, as a meeting point for strategic discussion. So we want to see that you utilize that place even for many debates. Debates not for elections, but debates on academic stuff. We want you to be discussing academic issues there, not national politics, because this is what is dividing us in this country. All right, let us come together.
Thanks so much for that report. We move along with the program. Usman Kanu, an employee of the Sierra Leone Road Transport Corporation, has declared his intention to run for the paramount chieftaincy election in the Tianka Tupa Makama Safroko chiefdom in the Poloko district. Our regional correspondent has details of this report.
This is how the people of Rubaka village, Tainkatapo, Makama Safroko chiefdom, Poloko district, welcomed Mr. Usman Kanu, an employee of the Sierra Leone Road Transport Corporation. The ceremony commenced with a charity at the residence of Mr. Usman Kanu, where a cow was slaughtered and the Holy Quran read. The next proceeded to Magberi, another village a kilometer away from Rubaka, where the region chief Pa Almami Kagbo resides, to formally declare his intention, as it has always been a tradition that any individual who has the interest in any traditional position to make their intention known.
If you ask me, I have divided my activities into short and long term. The short term will be the road project. As you can see, even the vehicle that you are in yesterday coming here, it was very, very hazardous coming down here. The road project is going to be my short term project, followed by the educational sector, because there are many teachers here that are not on the payroll. They do not have PIN codes and they are suffering. Also, I would like to look at the medical sector, because for the whole chiefdom, they only have 2 satellite clinics that are far apart. That's the short term. The long term, I will now enter into agribusiness, because as you can see, there are too many forests here with no cash crops except those of our domestic farming they are doing. And with domestic farming, you are only trying to age yourself early. You will not make it whilst doing domestic farming. And that's the reason why most of these people are looking at me as somebody that they could entrust their future on. And these are my plans, including the cost-cutting issues. Work with Ministry of Agriculture, work with Ministry of Education, work with the councils, because you know our governments have devolved their function to the councils. So as a chief elected one like myself, I will be able to interact with the council well to see how we can bring projects, implement them, monitor them, and move this chiefdom forward.
When responding to Mr. Usman Kanu, the region chief Pa Almami said he is happy to welcome Mr. Kanu, and furthered that Mr. Kanu has always been an ardent supporter of development in the chiefdom, that he has always stood with the chiefdom in times of difficulty, but cautioned that there are other candidates who are equally contesting for the said position, and that his role is not to support individual candidates, but rather he must play an independent and impartial role. When addressing his supporters in a well-attended and febrile atmosphere, Mr. Usman Kanu recounted the role his father played in bringing development to the chiefdom and promised to continue the legacy of his father. But what are his plans in tackling the lingering challenges that has plagued the chiefdom for a very long time?
In the first place, my father, that was known as Almami Bairu Kanu, was working for the Sierra Leone Produce Marketing Board in the 50s, 60s, 70s before he resigned. But he was born in this chiefdom and he served as councillor during those periods. He was able to construct roads, bridges, brought in a lot of social activities within the chiefdom. And as a young boy, he will normally tells me when I am away, at any time there are chieftaincy activities at Tinkatopa, you should make yourself available to contest for my own throne. And that's the Kanu ruling house. I'm just trying to complete the legacy of my father, because since he's a pioneer of road projects in Tinkatopa. He also built bridges when he was serving as councillor, and even after he retired from work, the bridge that you enter through from Robert is built by him after he had resigned from work. Part of his benefit, he invested in that bridge. So you can see how that guy was. He was very humble. He was somebody that likes community development. And I am also taking his footpath. Like you rightly said, I want to complete the legacy of my father.
Whosoever wins this paramount chieftaincy election has clearly got his work cut out for them. The date for the election is yet to be announced. For Star News, Alfie Barry reporting.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bao, for putting that report together. The studio clock registered 9:50, so I go over to you guys. I start with you. Kailo, you have 5 minutes to make a final submission as to what's the way forward.
The way forward is just too simple. We look forward to the leadership for genuine reforms in the APC. We, like I stated earlier, we believe that the chairman and leader, former President Ernest Bai Koroma, we still held him in a very high esteem, and we do believe that he's genuine in ensuring that the party is reformed. So we want every other executive member within the party to also toe the line of the chairman and leader. The NRM, like I always say, is not asking for much. If we want to be selected, we can just, work with the establishment or the status quo so that we can be selected. We are already becoming a household name within the APC. But that is not what we are pushing for.
Are you guys mindful of the fact that there are others sitting on the fence that will be pretty much happy to see you guys having a kind of, while they're expressing joy over your internal discount future?
Yeah, we are trying our best to avoid that. We are aware of the fact that some people who are actually may not want to see progress in the APC or say, well, I don't want to call names, but people that we may compete for the same political power within the states may be very happy about what is currently unfolding within the APC. But I do believe that this is not uncommon in any political dispensation the world over. There will come a time when the establishment or those in charge will be seriously challenged to address things that people, the majority, do believe that they are very important to be addressed, like what NRM is pushing now. We are doing this for God and country, and we are doing this for future generation. We don't want to have a makeshift arrangement within the APC, which will last for just a short period of time, and then after 2 or 3 years, people will come again and say, let's review this constitution. Since 1995 to now, it's a very long time. It's about 2 decades, if I am not mistaken. If that is the case, let us agree to review the constitution, not just for our sake, but for generations after us, so that they will know that the Ernest Bai Koroma-led executive, Dipayan Sane and Minkailu Mansaye, did a very good job that generations after them will appreciate. This is what we are asking for. We are not asking for much. NRM will meet at a place other than Freetown to critically look at the document, make recommendations as to areas that we think, aside the work that has been carried out by the CRC, are challenging and they need to be addressed. We believe that the chairman and leader will always listen to NRM. We believe that the leadership will always see the concerns of the majority of the people, which should reflect in the constitution. And so that is what we are going to continue doing. We are not going to relent on this advocacy. We may not want to explore other options on the table. We want to remain as a family and see that our party is being reformed for the general good, for all of us. That is what we are going to continue to push. And I do believe also that there are elders within the party who are always engaging NRM to see that we did not do otherwise, to see that we did not explore other means other than internal arrangement. That is, we advocate for what we want, we press on what we want, and the leadership should show reason for us to sit on a round table and address this finally once and for all. We do not want to have the PPRC intervene. We do not want to have the Supreme Court intervene to interpret our laws or our constitution to us. We want to have a fine document that will see us as a party that should be emulated. We want to be a best practice in Sierra Leone and the sub-region. We want other parties to emulate. Now, we started this advocacy about the review of the constitution. Just 2 weeks ago, I was on AYV when one of the members of the SLPP also did say one of their recommendations out of their NEC meeting in Bo was to review their own constitution. That tells you constitutions are meant to be reviewed. Laws should be in tandem with not political party laws, should be in tandem with national laws and international laws equally. Maybe there they have not seen any group emerging yet within their party to challenge the constitution, but they have also seen need to review their constitution. So NRM is not doing anything that is not.
We can quickly on the perceived notion that there are bad elements of old politicians pushing you guys that are dictating the pace from the rear. Could that be true?
It is not true.
Okay.
This is our generation. Yeah. This is our time in politics. This is our time to govern this country. We will not allow anybody that have had, his own taste of the cake to come and spoil our moment. No, we will not allow that.
Okay.
We are individuals that are of open minds. We cannot say if, for example, they are claiming the likes of Alpha Khan and few other people are members of NIM and that in fact they are telling us what. No. They are members of NIM because they opted to be members of NIM. They also are seeking for reforms. Ernest Koroma, when we last met,
JFK is one of them?
JFK is not a member of the NIM. I tell you, he is not a member of the NIM. Alpha Khan is a registered member of the NIM. JFK is not a member of the NIM.
Who else?
We have people like Paul Kamara that are members of the NRM. Kaloko declared publicly to be a member of the NRM and supported us. We have many others who are members of NRM, but JFK is not a member of NRM. And so what we are saying is this: we are not asking for much, Abdulrahman. We do believe that President Ernest Bai Koroma, former President Ernest Bai Koroma, is also sharing our sentiment.
Okay.
That is just my conviction.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Minkailu Koroma, for taking the time to make some clear justification. Yes, on the side, Rashid Obuya, how do you intend to move along with this advocacy campaign?
So now we are in education.
Education.
Or politics. Okay. So yes, our program, Open Education Program, is here to stay. Law for non-lawyers. It's quite a very record-breaking initiative, and we will take it further. We'll also be having very soon a national quiz competition on law and the justice system in Sierra Leone. That's a program that the nation must watch. We'll be bringing the best of schools, the secondary schools together, and we'll have a very renowned prize for them to see how much our students are au fait with the laws of the country and the justice system. So it's a program that is unique, Law for Non-Lawyers. So you follow up on Facebook, on our WhatsApp page. You will learn a lot about law and of course about the justice system in Sierra Leone, about your rights, and so that you'll be able to claim them whenever they are threatened, abused, or violated.
I thought you were going to say kudos to the current administration for the payment of benefits and all the rest.
Yes. Oh, okay. Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. President, and of course the government. Yes, that's a good way of criticizing. You must acknowledge when they do well, and also when they don't do well, you bring it out. So on this note, I must confess that was a very good initiative to pay the former president, vice president, and of course ministers their benefits and entitlement. And we thank them for this. It has really broken down the link. So people were afraid that this will be a bad precedent, that tomorrow those who are working now will also not have their benefits. So that the president did this, we must commend that. That's a good initiative. So now they're breaking the link. Nobody will come now and deprive somebody of their benefit. Okay. That is the good. But again, let's appeal that those who have not received, they should of course be paid because it's their entitlement. And we also pray that the balance 50% will also be paid as fast as possible.
Okay.
Thank you, and that's a good one.
On this note, I want to thank both of you, Rashid Obuya, CEO and founder for Legal Link, and also a member of the National Reformation Movement, Comrade Minkailu Koroma, for taking the time being part of this Good Morning Show.
Thank you.
Looking forward to having you in subsequent edition. Perhaps when the drafts will have completed, you will come back and give us your position.
Sure, certainly.
Great. Till then, this is how I draw the curtain into this edition of the program. My name is Abdulrahman Kamal. Have a wonderful day.